Atlas Chiropractic offers upper cervical chiropractic care. Now, what does that mean and how can it benefit you? Well, we're going to get all the answers from Dr. Emily Staples, DC, a NUCCA chiropractor. Hi.
Well, hello.
How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
Yes. Okay, so let's dive in because you have opened up a business and really are the first one in Fort Wayne to offer this type of chiropractic care.
Yes.
So share with me about what is NUCCA and what does it mean?
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get started at the very basics. So NUCCA, it's actually an acronym, and it stands for National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association.
Okay.
And it's a very small, as you said, niche within chiropractic.
Yes.
And as you already said as well, we focus specifically on the upper cervical spine, which all chiropractors learn about the entire spine throughout schooling, but instead of adjusting everywhere throughout the spine, I focus all of my adjusting in the office, specifically on the top bone in your spine, which is called the atlas.
Okay.
And the atlas, it literally holds up your head, and it literally is the connection from your brain out to the rest of your body from a neurological perspective.
Right.
And our neurology, our neurological system, it runs our life. Our body doesn't do anything without our brain telling it what to do.
Right.
And so if that top bone in your spine, that atlas, if it's out of position in any way from a three-dimensional perspective, it can have a huge impact on how that brain is able to communicate out to the rest of your body.
And is that something that's common? Like, do we typically have areas in that part of our spine and may not know about it?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. We have all had accidents, injuries, falls throughout our lifetimes. And we don't necessarily always pay attention to how well we heal from those accidents and injuries. And as a result of those accidents and injuries, again, the top part of your neck can get moved out of place from a bony perspective.
What about just bad sleeping positions? 'Cause sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh, okay, what did I just do?
Sleeping in a good neutral position is extremely important to overall function of the body. And our sleep is really important to being able to be energetic the next day.
Yeah, that is so true.
And so just sleep unto itself, it's not going to push those bones out of their normal position. But sleeping in a wrong position isn't going to help that particular problem that's already happening in the first place, again, in most people.
Yeah, so what are some indicators or perhaps signs that someone has an issue in that area and they should come get it checked out?
Okay, that's a really easy question. So with that one in particular, anybody can look at themselves in the mirror and they can get an idea of how is my system looking. So the first thing to look at, are my shoulders level to the ground when I'm standing upright?
Okay.
A lot of my patients, this is something that I look at because I've got tools in the office where I can look to see how level are these. Yes. Levelness, horizontalness to the ground is really important. So does one shoulder like to sit higher compared to the other when you're standing?
Right.
Same thing, does one hip like to sit higher compared to the other? A lot of people can notice this, like does their belt sit nice and level or does one side like to hike up compared to the other one? Absolutely. And then the other thing is a lot of people notice this, especially when they're checking out selfies or pictures or whatever, and they're like, oh my goodness, my head is always tilted to this side in every single picture. And they're like, and they never really give it a second thought until it's no, that actually means that your nervous system isn't nice and balanced the way that it's supposed to be. And so we need to change that information to go from head that's leaning off to one side, one shoulder that sits higher than the other, one hip that sits higher than the other.
Right. Those are problematic. It's so funny. I always find myself sitting up extra straight when I'm speaking to a physical therapist or chiropractor just to be like, I am level. No.
I have that influence on people.
So that's so great. So what can people do if they do need to check it out? Do they come in for a consultation? How does your process work?
Okay. So coming in to see me, anybody who has any interest whatsoever, yes, scheduling a complimentary consultation is the easiest way to start a conversation, because that's what I want to do with every single person is let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what's going on with you. What are you concerned about? And then are we a good fit? That's always my first question.
That's good,
I'm
yeah.
not going to assume that everybody is a good candidate for what we do. And so I kind of want to have that first introduction with somebody
Yeah.
where I can find out more about them.
Yeah. And how did you start this line of work? Like, what is your passion that really led you to this specific niche?
Oh, okay. So the reason that I got and became a NUCCA chiropractor is because I actually was a patient of a NUCCA chiropractor way before I went to chiropractic school.
Yeah.
My mom had suggested that I go see this particular chiropractor, and she had said that he's different. I was like, well, I don't really know what that means, but okay. So started to go up to see this doctor, and he's a man of few words. Great man, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have a lot to say.
Okay.
But what he has to say is really, you better pay attention. And so I went to see him, and you know, our first couple meetings, he said, okay, yeah, like we can make some changes for you. I said, okay, all right. He asked me a few questions here and there, but otherwise, let's get you adjusted. And I just followed his advice. And it wasn't too much longer before my migraines started to get way better than they had before. Because I had previously needed to take prescription medications for my migraines. And all of a sudden, I didn't have to take anything anymore. And that had a huge impact on me as far as, well, I don't like taking these anyway.
Yeah. Wow.
So I would much rather have a much more natural approach to feeling better, not having migraines. And then at the same time, it didn't affect my schooling, where I was able to go to class much more frequently because I wasn't missing class as a result of my migraines. And I just really liked the way that my treatments and adjustments went when I went to see him.
Yeah.
And so as a result, you know, after years of seeing various NUCCA chiropractors, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to get into because it's had a huge impact on my life.
Right.
And I want to do the same for other people.
Oh, I love that. Perfect, perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and also about your business, and congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. If you would like more information about Atlas Chiropractic, we'll have their website listed below, and we'll be right back.